Wow, can you believe it? Commitment family and friends. It has been 25 years. 25 years of commitment. You will hear more and more of that as we progress in the year 2021. Can you imagine that? 2021. And having the privilege to plant Commitment Church 25 years ago, it has been an amazing journey, not only for myself, but for the many hundreds of thousands of people that God has allowed us to reach over the years. When I look back on the 25 years of commitment, I have to reach back and look into the crevices of my own heart and mind. As I must admit, when we first started this journey, I did not want to be a pastor. Can you imagine that? And now, all these years later, I cannot imagine not being the pastor of Commitment Church. But the journey, it actually began, I believe, in my heart when I traveled to Washington State University and ended up being there on campus, where I believe the population, the black population in particular, was 2% out of 20,000 students. This was a culture shock to me, but yet I believe God was seasoning and tempering my heart for what God wanted us to be as a church, which was a place for all nations. And not to mention leaving there and coming to know Jesus Christ actually there at Washington State University, and having the opportunity to play for the Philadelphia Eagles and meeting some wonderful men who invested their lives into my life and the life of my wife. My life honestly hasn't been the same again. But from the Eagles, and if many of you probably don't even know that our church was birthed from an Eagles Bible study. Guys like Mike Flores and Mark Woodard and their wives graciously invested their time, their talent, and treasure, along with, of course, my wife Lisa, and four other, I like to always describe them as non-athletes, if you would, helped us plant Commitment Church again over 25 years ago, because it really started in our hearts, in our minds, probably about 2 or 3 years prior to the actual plant. This, of course, was not easy because, again, God was doing something in my heart, in our hearts, I know for sure, Lisa and I, about being a multi-ethnic, multicultural church. And if you can imagine, 20 plus years ago, this wasn't on many people's radars, or even in the heart of the church, and the American church in particular. Allowed us to start the journey of planting Commitment Church, a place for all nations. So this year, 2021, as we just navigate through time, again, from Lisa and I starting with a dream and a vision, and God graciously allowing us to have 8 other people in our lives who saw fit to come along with us on this journey, to coming to Lindenwold and stepping out of faith with, I remember, shucks, it was 3 months rent in the bank. We had $2,400 in the bank, $800 a month rent to move into the building we are in right now, to rent a couple of rooms, and then God so graciously allowing us to rent more space, eventually buy the building, buy the lots next door, tear down the buildings that were on the lot next door, and begin to renovate the inside of the building to where we are today. 25 years of commitment. Wow. Can you believe that? And we're just so excited about what God is still doing in the life of Commitment Church, and the many different people of all nations, tribes, and tongues that He has sent here. We're just so honored to just be a small part of this, both Lisa and I, to take this journey with us and back in time and into our future as a church.
you.